Okay, so now we've mastered the chain stitch, we're going to move on to the double crochet. So I've got 10 chain on my hook, and the way I know it's 10 is we're going to count the V's. So if you look from the top, you can see the front, they look like V's. So you never count the chain, you never count the hoop that's on your hook, you always count the one below. So you've got 1V there, 2V, 3V, 4V, 5V, 6V, 7V, 8V, 9V and 10V. So you've got 10 V's on your hook, which are your chain stitches. And the way we work the stitches is we work it from right to left. So we're going to work our double crochets into each of these chains here. Now a double crochet is quite high, and we tend to work stitches from the top of a stitch and we work it down into the stitch below. So in order to get to the top of our stitch, we need to gain a bit of height, and we do this by crocheting additional chains to make the side and get the height. So the general rule of thumb is if you're working single crochets back, you do an extra 1 chain. If you're working half double crochets back, you'd work 2 extra chains. And for the double crochet, what we're doing, you'd work 3 extra chains. I feel, however, just a helpful hint, 3 extra chains makes it bulge out a bit at the side. I think it's too long. So I will be working 2 extra chains for this double crochet. Okay, so we start off by working our extra 2 double chains. So it's yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through, and we've got our 2 extra chains there. That will be the 3rd chain, so we've got 1V, 2V, and that's your 3rd V, so we'll be working into that chain there, the 3rd chain from the hook. Okay, so to work a double crochet, we yarn over first before going through any stitches, and the way I remember it is we've now got double hoops on, so we've got 2 hoops on, double crochet. These are US terms. And then we're going to insert the hook into the 3rd chain, so that's 1, 2 and the 3rd chain. So we insert it into the 3rd chain. We then do what's called pull up a loop. So we're going to hook that yarn underneath the throat and we're going to pull it through the stitch, and it's pulled up an additional 3rd loop there. So now we've got 3 hoops on our hook. 1, 2, 3. We're then going to yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops, 1 and 2, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops, and that makes our first double crochet. So that's your 1 stitch there. We're then going to work into the next chain, which is the next V, that one there. So to do a double crochet, it's yarn over first, so we've got 2 hoops on our hook. We're then going to insert the hook through the chain and we're going to pull up an additional loop. So that's grab the yarn underneath the throat, pull it through the stitch and pull up that additional 3rd loop. Always bring your work back to that working area. As you remember, that diameter makes the stitches even. So now we're going to yarn over and pull through the first 2 stitches, 1 and 2, and then yarn over and pull through the last 2 stitches, and that makes your 2nd double crochet. Okay, we're now going into the next V, your next chain. So yarn over first, so we've got 2 hoops, double, on the hook. We then insert the hook through the chain or the stitch. Get on there. Fiddly. Get through. There we go. We're then going to pull up a loop, so you're grabbing that yarn and pulling it through the stitch. Bring it back to the working area, and then we're yarning over, pulling through the first two, and then yarning over and pulling through the last two stitches. So you can see it taking shape now. You've got your chain stitches that were coming down here. You've then got your 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, 3 double crochet. If you remember, we did chain that 2 to get the height at the beginning. We're not counting that as a stitch. So that would be your first double crochet there, second double crochet and third double crochet. So we carry on down the line, work into your next chain. So that's yarn over to make 2 hoops, double hoops. Go into your chain stitch, pull up a loop, which means grab the yarn under the throat and pull it through the stitch, and then you've pulled up an additional loop. You got 1, 2, 3, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. Okay, next stitch, yarn over, insert your hook through the stitch, pull up a loop, bring it back to the centre, yarn over, work through the first 2 stitches, yarn over, pull through the last 2 stitches. Okay, next stitch, yarn over, insert your hook through the stitch, pull up a loop, and we're yarning over, going through the first 2 stitches, yarning over, going through the second 2 stitches. So if we put the work down, it's always good to keep having a look at your work, make sure it's heading in the right direction. So we've got your chain that came along here. We've got your additional chains that don't count as anything there. We've then got, if I can widen it, you can see these posts going down. And if I pull it wider, you should be able to see the gaps in between them. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So we're counting those posts going up. That's your double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. We don't count that chain as a stitch. So we've got 6, so we should have 4 chains left, or 4 V's, which we have. We've got 1 V there, 1 V there, 1 V there and 1 V there. So that's 4 V's left. So you work your double crochet into those last 4 and I'll meet you back.